Well, Booch, just show up anytime, why don't you? It's not like SummerSlam isn't just hours away here in When's World, featuring the one, the only, the wrestling encyclopedia, the honorable mention, Vincent Kennedy Bucci, current champion, but not for long.
Woo! That's right, ladies and gentlemen. The champ is here. That's right. Styling and profiling the 62nd man, baby. Woo! That's right. The kiss stealing, wheeling dealing, Kia Forte riding, Delta coach flying, son of a gun, and I'm having a hard time holding these Adidas down. Woo!
Yeah, I've heard you were the 62nd man, Booch. But let's keep it forward, and hopefully we will keep this moving beyond the 60-second mark, because really there's no reason to even acknowledge that, if you know what I mean. Speaking of acknowledgement, Booch, we have a huge match ahead of us here this very Saturday, live from Music City, USA, Nashville, Tennessee. Of course, I'm the only 10 I see in this room amongst us. But we'll get to this first match here in Music City. Booch, this is obviously the most talked about match, and for good reason, as Roman Reigns defends his title against the one and only beast incarnate Brock Lesnar in a last man standing match. Booch, I have my thoughts on this. I have many thoughts on this. Well, the different directions they can go. Of course, folks are going to have to stick with us. And if you've been living under a rock or a tree for the last few days, Vincent Kennedy McMahon, Booch's illegitimate father, has stepped down from his role as chairman of WWE, stepped out as creative lead in WWE. We won't get into all the reasons. Booch has some thoughts on perhaps they had something to do with the opposite sex, millions of dollars being shelled out in hush money. But you know, what else is new in corporate America, right? But we're going to get to all that jazz if we have time. But Booch, this match has so many implications, and really, given the news as of late, could have the outcome been swerved in light of the fact that we have new direction in the seat, right? So we have Triple H now calling the shots as head of creative and head of talent relations. You know, beyond the dirt sheets and beyond the contract talk here, this is a huge match for the future of both the red and blue brand, because the winner is the undisputed WWE Universal Champion. So before you get my thoughts, Booch, and you try and copy me so you can win this time around like you always try and do, I'd like to get your thoughts on this match, Booch, and where it's going to take the universe at large.
I honestly had no idea where this was going to go for the longest time. I was going back and forth. It's interesting. They're building this as the final match between Roman and Brock.
It has to be.
It has to be.
This is match number 7, right?
Yes, pretty much. If you add up all the way back to WrestleMania 31, there's been about 7 or 8. That this needs to come to an end. But the other issue is, and we're going to go into detail later about Vince's retirement and everything, but we got to bring it up briefly here just for this one thing. When the news broke that Vince McMahon was retiring, like completely retiring, done with WWE, going to enjoy the fruits of his labor and all that,
and his loins.
Yeah, and his loins. Yes, Brock was pissed behind the scenes. He's not happy that Vince is gone, and he had actually walked out of the building, like walked out on SmackDown. So he was not gonna, he was pretty much about to get on a plane and go home because he was not happy. Now, there were actually rumors going around. Here's how serious this was, that they were actually in a production meeting while Brock was gone, talking about potentially maybe, do we bring Goldberg in to replace Brock Lesnar on short notice and make Roman and Goldberg have a last man standing match? That's how serious this got. But luckily, Paul Heyman was there, and Paul is one of the few people that can get through to Brock, because Brock don't trust a lot of people. He's grown to like a few people, but as far as trust goes, that's a small list. Vince was on that small list. So Paul called Brock, got him to cool down, and was the voice of reason in getting Brock to come back to SmackDown. And that's why we saw him at the end of the show beating up Austin Theory. Because by the time he got back to the building, it was time for that. So that's when Brock finally came out, beat the hell out of Austin Theory. Crowd went nuts. But the part of the reason they went nuts was because we were all, as far as we were concerned, Brock was gone. And he was probably not even going to show up to SummerSlam. So because of that, there's a lot of talk going around. We might not see much of Lesnar after SummerSlam. Like if we see him again, it'll be his Hall of Fame induction because he's going in.
Yeah.
So because of that, and because I also know better, I'm going with Roman Reigns to win this, because not only have I known not to bet against the tribal chief, I also don't see Brock sticking around for very long. So to make him a champion wouldn't make sense, because I think now that Vince is out the door, I think Brock is out the door.
And see, that's one of those things that I was kind of teasing, right? Because we don't know, or I don't know, about all the backstage antics and who's favorite. I mean, we got a little taste of that last Monday night when the New York crowd just lit it up with "Who's Your Daddy," talking to Austin Theory, A-Town down. By the way, this guy deserves so much more respect, and he's going to get it Saturday night. I hope. We'll see what happens there. But now that Daddy's gone, I mean, everybody, including myself, I literally, Booch, I got home from the gym. I was watching it late. I watched it like Tuesday night, right?
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there munching down on some fried chicken on the couch. And Roman Reigns says, now that Daddy's gone. And I was like, oh, like I think I woke everybody up upstairs. And everybody in New York was like, oh, it was the same reaction. And immediately the "Who's Your Daddy" chants came. And I still can't believe how over Roman Reigns is.
Like, I can tell you where that "Who's Your Daddy" chant came from if you want.
Yeah, go for it.
That's a New York thing. In addition to, because if you remember a while back, the Yankees and the Red Sox played each other in a championship game to go to the World Series. And this is back when Pedro Martinez was on the field. This is back when they had Roger Clemens. This is back when they had
Mariano Rivera.
Like the stars of baseball.
Sure.
And Pedro was, in addition to Kurt Schilling, whatever his last name is, was like one of their star pitchers for the Red Sox. And one time, in one of the games, now the Red Sox, I think the Yankees won this one, then the Red Sox won the other one to win the World Series. So my history might be a little off, but I remember that night the Yankees dominated that game, practically bitch slapped the Red Sox. It was a joyful moment for me. And at the end of it, Pedro was trying to be humble, but said something stupid that he never should have said. And he goes, they beat us tonight. I tipped the hat. I called the Yankees my daddy. And the next day, the next game, it was either that game or the other one after that, when Pedro was on the mound, the whole entire Yankee Stadium is going, "Who's your daddy? Dun, 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 dun. Who's your daddy? Dun, dun, dun." The whole entire game, Pedro had to hear "Who's your daddy" while he's trying to pitch. It was... So "Who's Your Daddy" is a New York thing. Now, I can't say that wouldn't have happened if he had cut that promo maybe in Wichita, but you say anything about Daddy in New York, a "Who's Your Daddy" chant's going to break out. So they walked right into that with New York. That was going to happen.
Booch, you have been upgraded from the wrestling encyclopedia to the sports entertainment encyclopedia. Here in Wen's World, Booch, I don't know what we do without you. I'll tell you what we do. We'd lose less without you around. But here we are, and you're going to go with the head of the table, self-proclaimed, yes, Roman Reigns. And Booch, I did some digging before the show. I know what you all are thinking. Wen's research? This is not you. You've had some extra time on your hands. No extra time, but making proper use of said time. During proper use of said time, Booch, I discovered that Brock Lesnar hasn't beaten Roman Reigns in 4 years. Not since the summer of 2018. 4 years. Look it up for yourselves. Discuss amongst yourselves. But I'm here to tell you in wrestling talk here that it's all this Triple H calling the shots, all that aside. My gut is telling me that it is time for a change. This is going to be the short term change until they figure out what's what. And now is the time to do it with all the shakeup at the top. It's a perfect time to pull the trigger. And therefore, I am going to go with Brock Lesnar to defeat Roman Reigns and become the undisputed WWE Universal Champion.
That's okay. This
Here
is gonna
we
be a
go.
fun one.
We're already off on a disagreement. There will be a winner here in Wen's world, probably me. This next match, Booch, we're gonna kind of lighten the mood a little bit. This is a fun match, right? This is almost a celebrity type match as Pat McAfee takes on Happy Corbin. No title, just fun. But I like the way McAfee's doing this, man. He not only is he totally in on this business, SmackDown announcer, he's fun, he's believable, he livens it up just like he did when he played for the Colts as a punter. What no more fun of a punter than this guy, right?
Exactly. How many other famous punters do you know? Not many.
Well, I don't know any, but I don't know of any either. So
that's what I'm saying. Like most of the time, the punter's usually the one guy whose name you don't know. I've at least known a couple field goal kickers, like Jason Elam. That was my boy. But outside of that, you don't know too many punters. Like Pat McAfee's literally the only one I know, and he's got it's like he's a punter with the personality of a quarterback.
Yeah,
that's the best way to describe him.
And so there you go. And so this is what we're looking at as he takes on Happy Corbin and Booch. I think there's no reason why Pat shouldn't win this match. It's a fun match. Happy Corbin has nothing going for him. He's lucky to be employed. I wonder how long that's going to last with the new leadership in tow. He's obviously a Vince guy. There's no way this guy is a Triple H guy, in my view. I don't know. That's just my gut talking to me right now. And I am hungry, so that could weigh into that. But I'm going to go with Pat to get a big W in Nashville over Happy Corbin. What say you, Booch?
Absolutely. Pat McAfee, I'm a fan. Pat McAfee is one of my guys. Like, this is a dude that since he first was announcing he was going to get in the ring regularly on WWE, I was excited. Because again, to the people who follow NXT, we've seen Pat McAfee work. We know he's being trained by Rip Rogers, who's one of the best legendary trainers in wrestling. Like he's one of the ultimate teachers.
Pat built a ring on his property just so he could train. Like that's dedication right there.
So and that's why, even though you're saying like technically it's a celebrity match, but since Pat McAfee is a celebrity with athleticism that can work like a wrestler, it's kind of dancing over that line. Like to me, a celebrity match was like Sami Zayn and Johnny Knoxville. That's a celebrity match because you're not going to see a lot of insane physicality. You'll see a fight, but it was mostly jackass stunts and everything. They catered it to make it work. This is going to be two guys fighting, brawling, wrestling. It's going to be a match because, granted, Corbin, I see him out the door soon.
Oh yeah.
I mean, if the only reason he's still here is they don't have much of a roster, but I don't see Corbin getting much of a push anymore. I think he's just going to be one of those guys that's there for filler. I honestly think. I could be wrong, but that's what I see right now. So I would give the win to McAfee because he's, like I said, he's more over. He does more. He's more entertaining, and Corbin's just not bringing anything to the table. Because Corbin gets that win, he won't do anything with it.
Right.
So
yeah,
and I know some people are going to think, well, McAfee's just going to go back to the broadcast table. Yeah. But unless this win's going to catapult Corbin to the Intercontinental or the undisputed title, he don't deserve the win because he's not getting any titles anytime soon because he's not cutting it. So I'm going with McAfee 100%.
I was hoping you wouldn't do that so I could win by even more. But I feel like my premonition on A-Town Down's own Austin Theory is going to serve me well, Booch. As we move towards this match, Bobby Lashley, current United States champion, totally deserving. Not going to ever argue that. I'm not here to debate that. But I am here to say that the results of this match are obviously going to be known, hopefully, right, before the championship match that we just discussed. So what I'm going to say next is going to be slightly confusing to those of you who are inebriated. So snap out of it. Wake up, people. There you go. Thank you. Thank you. If Austin Theory, A-Town Down, wins against Bobby Lashley, he is also going to walk down the ramp, put his foot on the chest of Brock Lesnar, and Brock Lesnar is going to sit up just like he did with The Undertaker, laugh, take Austin Theory to Suplex City 5, 6, 700 times, then a whirlwind of F5s, and that'll be the end of the Austin Theory thing if all of that was truly Vince McMahon. I have a hard time believing that Triple H isn't in on Theory because I think he represents like a certain persona that WWE can mold, they can work with. He's not a super big guy. A lot of the fans are underdogs. Like, not every fan loves the Drew McIntyre giant, right? I think this guy can serve a niche. He's like the social media selfie guy, right? He represents the culture, the TikTok culture. He'd be dynamic for ads, more so than Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar. So what I'm going to say here may have confused you even more, and I hope I did. I am going to say that Austin Theory is going to win against Bobby Lashley at SummerSlam for the United States Championship. Whew, that was a lot. Whew.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. And I think obviously because we were against the time last time we were here, I didn't get a chance to say this, but I'll say it here before I give my prediction.
Go for it.
I was not happy that Bobby Lashley won the US title, which I'm sure some people are going to be shocked. I'm a Bobby Lashley fan. I am. But I did not think that Austin Theory was ready to lose that title yet. I think there was still more he could do with it. I felt that that's where he belongs for now. But to have him drop the US title and then go win the Money in the Bank was stupid. He should not have that briefcase. And I think that's the thing. So I got back to what Wens was saying before about, us, saying that, other people in the business might be hung up on Theory. Maybe they are. But I think Triple H is like, I want Theory to be here, but he's not there yet. But I think Vince wanted too much too fast. And I feel like they're trying to pull it back a little bit because Austin Theory should not be walking out of here with the title again. That whole youngest champion thing ain't going to work.
But we did discuss the fact that he would technically be the youngest champion, right?
Yeah, we went through that last time. But I'm just saying it's not going to work, as no one's going to think, wow, that's cool. Nobody is. So it's not going to work. Also, I mean, I'd like to see him win back the US title, but I don't think they're going to. I feel like Theory, there will come a day when Theory will have his moment in the sun. But I think right now they want to make a statement to the WWE universe that a new regime is in charge. And I feel the only way to do that, unfortunately, is to make Theory your sacrificial lamb.
It's terrible though.
It's terrible, but they need, because you can say whatever you want behind the scenes. The WWE universe is all about what they see in the ring. Mm-hmm. So if they see Theory winning, then they're going to think, oh, I guess nothing's changing with Vince gone. You need to make a statement that Vince's pet project is going to go down the ladder a little bit, but that's not to say he won't climb back up and eventually get something. But in the meantime, they got to make a statement. And the best way to do that is for him to not walk out with the US title. And if he does cash in, either Brock or Roman, whoever wins, humbles him. You gotta make a statement that the old regime is out and the new regime is in.
But okay. Let me. Man, you just went all in on that. Like I can't see a scenario where see what you just said is so expected. Like any Mark listening to this right now is like, yeah, Booch, preach, right? Because that's what you think is going to happen. I got news for you, people. They're not going to do us like that. They're going to give us half of this. They're going to give us one or the other. They're not going to give us both, but they're not going to screw this guy like you think. Like there's no way, because let's be honest. This guy is the future of this business. Like he's everything they want. Like he's perfect. He's perfect.
Yeah.
Like he's great on the mic. He's confident. He's believable. He's talented. He's good looking. He's everything that they want. He's like that. He could be anybody you walk by if you work hard enough, because he's like, what, 5'8". He's not a big guy. He's not like a, Batista type.
Yeah.
He's just physically dominating presence.
Which is why that's why most people were shocked when he became Vince's pet project, because he's usually the opposite of everything Vince usually wants.
Maybe it started out as ironic. Maybe all of it started out as a joke, and sometimes those things take on a life of their own in this business. And but here we are, and we're getting way too deep into this, Booch. We're overthinking it. You got Lashley, I got Theory, but I'm interested in this because I do think that Theory can win this match. Half of what he said would come true, and I think this half is the true part. Like I said, I don't think he's going to walk out as undisputed champion, but I do think he walks down with that briefcase, because he said he was going to do it. Now, the only way it doesn't happen is if he's driven away in an ambulance after the United States Championship match. And given the fact that it's not a anything goes match or anything crazy that would garner that kind of outcome, right?
Yeah.
Then it's not going to happen. But that's the only way you protect him, because if you make him a liar this early, I don't know if you can climb back, no matter what happened with Vince, because it's weird. But this is great. I think we're definitely going to revisit this later, because we have to see who wins this match and talk about it. But
yeah,
there's a lot to that match right there, because a lot's riding on that. But Booch, this next match it's been kind of eating me. It's been eating at me, Booch, and I want to get your thoughts on it. And it has a special guest referee, of course. Double J Jeff Jarrett, slap ass himself, is going to be there in Nashville. He lives there. Makes sense. What I don't understand, and I think Jim Cornette makes a really good point about this in his one of his later episodes of Drive Thru, is like there was no build. Like, why not have him somewhat invested in this, other than the fact that I think he's like still employed by WWE in some capacity, in a backstage kind of promotional level capacity. Jeff Jarrett, that is. But it's just, to me, it's like, man, okay, special guest referee. I haven't heard from him or Deborah in like forever. So what's the relevancy other than the fact that it's, geographically relevant? What? So The Rock lives in Hollywood. So the next thing in LA, is he going to be there? I mean, it's just, okay. So I digress there. So I think he makes a good point there. But for the sake of this match, this is why I said what I said earlier, Booch, about Brock Lesnar dethroning Roman Reigns, because as I said previously, go back a couple episodes, maybe one or two, where I said it's going to happen at the same time. Roman Reigns is going to fall, and so will the Usos. And because I predicted Roman Reigns to fall, so will the Usos, Booch, and they will fall to the Street Profits. It's time. It is their due. This is one of the big three, SummerSlam. It makes sense, for the love of God. WWE, Triple H, Stephanie, Stephanie's children, whoever's making the decisions here, please let the Street Profits walk out of SummerSlam tag team champions. Please. What do you think? What do you think? Am I off base here, Booch? Am I going off the rails here?
Well, before I go any further, I got to address this real quick. First of all, I love the fact you listen to Cornette's podcast. I'm glad I'm not the only one. I thought I was the only one on the show who did. So Well done. Bravo.
I'm a recent subscriber here.
Okay, but I'm saying that's a good research.
He drops the F-bomb a lot though. I could do without that, but I'm taking it with that.
There's a lot of cussing and his political beliefs are off the rails, but there's times where he talks about the business. A lot of the stuff that I learned about the wrestling business, some of it has come from him. There's been bits and pieces of other, interviews from other bookers and stuff that I've learned, but Cornette, listen to his podcast. That's where I learned a lot of intricacies about the business. Mm-hmm. So the fact that you're starting to listen to that show now is good. I think that might help you look at things from a different perspective as well.
Can I throw in a nugget really quick? Don't forget your thought, but I just want to throw this out there because speaking of things you learned by listening to him, did you know that Triple H has now assumed the duties of what a booker essentially does?
I just heard that yesterday. Yeah.
So he's doing, guys, I don't think you understand that a guy with a heart condition in Triple H, he has a heart condition, y'all. Like this guy is taking on twice the stress instantly. Like not only are you in charge of everything you were in charge of, but by the way, now you're in charge of the storyline, which everybody thought Bruce Pritchard, Brother Love, if y'all don't know, was going to take over because he was Vince's guy. Again, all this shakeup, nobody knows what's going on, and it's a beautiful story because all of us are like, what's going to happen next? Like the outcome of this pay-per-view, Booch, it's if they do it right. I don't even know what right means anymore with this brand, but if they do it in the right direction, even if they get some things wrong, even if it's skewed, they'll get a couple things wrong. But if they go in the right direction here, they could do some very special things. But a lot of this is riding on the choices being made by the shadow government of WWE because nobody really knows who really is calling the shots right now. But I just want to throw that out there that is this like this could be an interim role for him? Like Tony Khan isn't going to, or Nick Khan, sorry, not Tony Khan, Nick Khan, Freudian slip there, isn't going to be in charge of creative. He's the money guy. He knows how to progress the brand. Like he's the business mind of this.
He's co-CEO with Stephanie.
Right.
Stephanie is the chairwoman of WWE. She's at the top of the mountain, and she split the CEO responsibilities with Nick Khan.
Right.
So they're both CEOs.
Sure.
So that's how that goes. And then Triple H is in talent relations. So adios to people power. He ain't there no more. I was surprised. And I don't know if Triple H eventually has to pick one. I hope he picks creative. I would pick him for creative and put Bruce Pritchard in talent relations. Because no disrespect to Bruce. I like Bruce. I got a lot of advice in the business from Bruce as well. Listen to his shows. But he's been in the creative before when it wasn't doing anything. So I feel like Triple H needs to be in that seat because he'll know how to take the creative direction. But Bruce is also good at dealing with talent. So if you're going to give Bruce Pritchard a job, I'd bump him to talent relations and keep Triple H in the creative slot because that would be a better fit.
Right. Okay. Now go on with what you were going to say. Sorry, I didn't mean to.
Well, no, I was going to say, first of all, I was going to say, love the fact that you're on the Cornette thing. I like that because that's a good person to learn from. I think it might also help in your decision making. I'm not saying that in a bad way. I'm being serious.
I could use some help in my predictions.
Well, I'm saying it can help you because it's helped me. It's helped me better understand the business. So if it can help me out, it can definitely help you.
Sure,
so I'm meaning that in a good way. That's not a backhanded thing. But I am going to also say that also Jeff Jarrett's catchphrase is slap nuts, not slap ass, but okay.
But he did slap ass later on in his career.
Okay. Because in WCW, he did slap nuts.
He did slap at. If you look at, just go back and do your digging, Booch. I don't want to. I'm not trying to check your encyclopedia here, but you need to update it.
Okay, well maybe I missed something. Okay.
Yeah.
I haven't slept in.
And he did slap nuts too, because I remember the T-shirt, the black and white T-shirt, slap nuts.
Yeah, when in WCW we had that.
The honky tonk man 2.0 kind of gimmick.
Guitar,
It was great.
Exactly. Great. So there was that. But also it also helps for Jeff Jarrett because Jeff Jarrett's is actually going to be wrestling the night after SummerSlam because for those of you that are probably wondering why I did a random Ric Flair entrance for this thing, it wasn't just to be the champ and rub the belt in Wenz's face. That was part of it. But the other reason was because allegedly and I say allegedly because in wrestling you never know, Ric Flair is having one more match on Sunday, a part of Starrcast weekend.
One more match.
And it's going to be against Jeff Jarrett, but they made a tag team match where it's Ric Flair and Andrade against Jeff Jarrett and Jay Lethal. They picked Andrade because that's Ric Flair's new son-in-law because he married the false Flair. And they put Jay Lethal with Jeff Jarrett because Jay Lethal back in TNA did a dead-on impersonation of Ric Flair at Ric Flair. You can find this on YouTube. It was a completely improvised promo segment where Jay Lethal comes out doing a dead-on Ric Flair impression to even where Rick is kind of like impressed, but still fires back. And they gave one of the best lines where Jay Lethal said, "Hey, don't get upset just because they tore Old Space Mountain down."
Ooh,
and Ric Flair came back with, "Hey," and Ric Flair's answer was, "Oldest ride, longest line."
Oh, nice.
So that kind of gold you're seeing in this promo, it's great. So that's why I did that. But the night before, Jeff Jarrett's going to be doing this guest referee thing. And I think the guest referee thing is going to play a role in this. But, and here's the thing. I want the Street Profits to win. Let me make that clear to everybody out there. Vinny, the Booch, wants the smoke. Literally and figuratively. Because I've been stressed for the last few days. But I'm saying, this is the one time I actually wish I lived next door to Riddle. But anyway,
hey, he's got some extra time Saturday night. He's not competing anymore either.
That's right. That's right. I'll have to get a mutual friend to do it. I doubt he'll want to talk to me directly. But I don't blame him. I wouldn't, if I was him, I wouldn't talk to me directly either. But my point is, I'm thinking like I want the Street Profits to win. But I've said it before, and I will say it again. I know better than to bet against the Usos. I can't do it. I've done it too many times to where it's hurt me. So I'm going with the Usos to win. But if the Street Profits do win, I'm okay giving up that point. I'll be fine with that. You're not going to see me on the live stream cussing up a storm because we are doing the Boochcast watch party on Twitch. I got some of the gang coming over. We'll be doing that. Twitch.tv/the Boochcast, 8 p.m. Come join us for SummerSlam. So you're not going to see me pitch a fit if the Street Profits win. But I'm going with the Usos because I know better and I want to keep this.
All right. Well, you know what? Your choice is yours, sir. I think you're wrong. I think it's time. And this is the moment they pull the trigger. But we shall see, Booch. Let's talk about this next one. We got to power through here. The next, and I hate that I love that we do this. I love that we go off here, but the sponsors have only allotted so much time, and you know what? They haven't paid for a minute more, so I'm not going to give them a minute more, Booch. Not till we see them dollars. Liv Morgan taking on Ronda Rousey. Ladies, can you please show yourselves here in Wensboro? It's okay. Listen, you don't have to be perfect. Nobody's perfect. There you are. Good to see y'all. Booch, let's just be real. Both fantastic people. Love it. Blah, 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 blah. There's no way on God's green earth that in real life, Liv Morgan beats Ronda Rousey, but she is the champion. There's no way, right? They give Ronda Rousey the belt back this soon. What's going on here? I mean, there has to be some kind of crazy wackadoodle finish to only make it so Liv Morgan walks out as champion, because Booch, I got to tell you, I believe that Liv Morgan's going to win this match somehow. Not the right way. She's not going to be able to beat her. But
no,
she's win this match.
And that's the thing, because there is no, because here's the thing. Obviously, wrestling is scripted entertainment. They could do it that way, but nobody would buy it.
No.
I mean, the fans would get the pop because they love Liv Morgan. But if you really honestly look at it, Liv Morgan's not beating Ronda Rousey. For Christ's sake, Alexa Bliss couldn't legit beat Ronda Rousey, and Bliss is a bigger star than Liv. So it's just not, it doesn't work. Like I said, when Liv cashed in and won, everything they did was believable. The kick to the bad leg, the roll up, everything worked. So the only way this could work is if a bunch of women beat up Ronda backstage and she's limping back to the ring for the match, saying, I got beat up backstage, but I'm not missing my title shot. And then Liv wins that way. But, or something happens where there's an exposed turmoil. Liv would have to do some heelish stuff, even though she's not a heel, to pull this off. There's no legit way she can win this. And I think it's a bad idea to have the rematch here at SummerSlam because I think Liv got, what was it, Carmella and somebody else like came at her on Raw the next night. And I'm still trying to figure out why the SmackDown Women's Champion was on Raw the next night. Nobody's been able to explain that logic to me. But, and then when she had those two people, I thought it was going to be a triple threat match. And I thought that could work. That should, because Ronda shouldn't get her title shot until you're ready for Liv to drop it. So unless they want to do a one and done with Liv, you know, I got to go with Ronda on this, but if Liv does win, they got to make it believable. And if Liv wins in a way that makes sense and booking wise is believable, again, I'll give up the point happily. But if they make Liv Morgan some badass that's able to knock out Ronda Rousey and pin her, screw that. That's stupid.
What if we see the return of Charlotte Flair? I mean, her husband's competing. So let me just throw this out there. So that's the way they do this, right? She comes in, Liv Morgan, the referee, you know, all that, however they do it. Like her husband's competing the night before, the night after, whatever it is. So obviously they're both available, right? So it makes sense. That's the way they do this. They keep Liv Morgan champion for the time being. She goes against the true Flair, Charlotte. Gosh, she's just so perfect. Like everything. I know you have differing opinions, but you're so triggered right now.
Purpose.
I love it. I love it. You can see that vein in your forehead pulsating right now. Like, oh, you're losing your hair over this, Pooch. Come on. Yeah, that's the way you do it. That's how you do it. You don't make it a one and done if you value this competitor. And she's a long-term solution for this company. Like Liv Morgan is great. She's great. She's an Alexa Bliss, like a better version of Alexa Bliss because she hasn't embraced a stupid voodoo doll or whatever that stupid doll is. It's creepy and I don't like it. Anyway, moving forward, I got Liv Morgan. You got Ronda Rousey. But I definitely see Charlotte interfering in this match. That makes sense. Bianca Belair taking on, I believe, Becky Lynch, if I'm not mistaken here. Booch, this match to me is kind of tricky because I've been getting a lot of mixed signals on the shows, and I want to believe that Bianca Belair is going to maintain the Raw Women's Championship, but a small part of me is concerned that Becky Lynch is going to win this match. But before I give my prediction, what say you?
Okay. With all due respect to both of these women, because they're amazing competitors.
True.
This will be my bathroom break for SummerSlam because I've seen this too many times. It's like Brock and Roman. It's been over and over and over again. In fact, in the build up to this, the only thing that was even remotely entertaining was at one point Becky grabbed Bianca by her hair and pulled her out of the damn ring, and they had that brawl outside. That one spot was the only entertaining thing I've seen. Other than that, it's been Bianca saying the same thing over and over. It's Becky trying to become a psycho all of a sudden.
Yeah, like, it's weird. Sudden.
I mean, this is the only match that doesn't excite me at all because I've seen it, and I feel like Bianca's won so many times. I think they're finally ready to give it back to Becky. So wow. I'm gonna go with Becky just because if Bianca retains, this needs to end. Hell, I'd say whoever wins, this needs to end. Like, I wouldn't even give Bianca a rematch just because I've seen this match too many times. I'm bored.
I'm going to go with Bianca.
Okay.
We'll see what happens. I could be wrong. This could be one of those matches where they determine this is the direction we're going to go in the ladies' side of things. Again, we don't know. We don't know who they like, who they don't like, who says some things, who's going to get, who Triple H likes, who Stephanie like, we'll see how that works. But the next match, Booch, this one is one that I know you'll have some you'll feel some kind of way on. As your personal hero, I think there's really no other way to say this. Booch, and that is Mike the Miz, right? Am I correct there? Taking on Logan Paul, new WWE talent, who's like Pat McAfee, embraced the culture. He's all in. He's believable on the mic. He brings in a fan base from his own, personal media channels, and WWE is learning how to adopt these other audiences and take them in and make them their own and adopt them in. And so, good for them. It's going to work. I think this match is going to be fun, and I think it's going to be a lot better than people think. I think a lot of people, you said the last match, Bianca Belair and Becky Lynch was going to be your bathroom break. I think a lot of people looking at this card would say, this will be my bathroom break match. The Miz, Logan Paul, how stupid. Watch. This is going to be a fun one, because if Logan Paul is serious about this, which I believe he is, this is the beginning of something for him. So I would look for the Miz to help him shine. The Miz is great at getting people over. He's great. You can say whatever you want. You don't like his character, but the guy just continually takes it on the chin week after week. He's a great competitor. His character is annoying, but that's why you hate him. He does his job. He's a heel. He's not likable, and that's why I like him. So with all that said, looks like you've already made your choice, bitch. I'm going to go with Logan Paul to win this match, because he has more upside, and they lose nothing by the Miz losing this match. He's a guy who builds other people up at this point in his career. He has Miz TV. He's he's like Roddy Piper, Piper's Pit, so to speak. Modern day Piper's Pit from Main Event. You remember those days. So
Yes.
why not utilize the hot hand? Logan Paul is a hot hand. We both agree on that. So here we are, the final match of the night. Oh my gosh, this one deserves its own background. What do you think, Booch?
I think so. And while I'm waiting for you to pull that background up, I'll just say that obviously I want Logan Paul to win, but it's not just because of my issues with the Miz. Obviously that's a portion of it, but not the whole reason. Logan Paul, like I said, at WrestleMania, he impressed everybody. He has shown that he wants this. He shows that he's taking it seriously, and he shows that he understands how the business works. So Logan is able to do what most of this roster can't do, which is draw money. He's going to bring in, he's got an outside fan base, because regardless of how people feel about Logan Paul, he's got fans that follow him in everything he's done, from social media to boxing to every other venture he's gotten in. So there's a fan base that's coming with him to this. As he calls them, the Low Gang, they're coming. The Low Gang is coming to the WWE universe, and they're going to come for Logan. And so, and as much as I hate the Miz, and probably always will, I will say
It's not good for you to hate. It's not good.
He is somebody that in the ring can be unselfish. Mm-hmm. I'll give him that. He is willing to do the job, and he's willing to put people over when needed. Like Miz is one of those, he's very much a company guy. So if they want him to put over Logan Paul, Miz will do it because he knows it's the right thing. But this is because it's a scenario where, Logan Paul's like, quote unquote, the outsider, but he's an outsider who gets it. He's an outsider who respects it. And that's really what wrestlers or superstars, whatever you want to call them, that's all they ask of celebrities or special guest people. Respect our business.
Yep.
You do that, you are welcome. If you don't, get out.
Right. And he respects it, so it makes sense. It's a good look for him, and he's one of those people that's believable.
Yes.
It can work for him, much like it's working for Ronda Rousey. Same kind of, different. Obviously, Ronda Rousey is on a different level than he is. She's a legit fighter. Yeah, I mean, I don't want no drama with her. Yeah. But here we go. We're up against the Booch. We got to get to this last one here. The Mysterios taking on the Judgment Day. This is an interesting match. This could be the fork in the road for Dominic Mysterio. Is this the time for him to separate himself from who's your daddy, Papa Ray? So this is it, right? This could be the beginning of the undoing, or is this the strengthening of this Mysterio family, much to the chagrin of everybody who's waiting for this heel turn for Dominic Mysterio. What do you think?
I think my favorite moment in this feud ironically came from Rhea Ripley. When Ray was having that 20th anniversary party, because it has been 20 years, because I think SummerSlam 02 was his debut match in WWE, which back then there wasn't, the internet wasn't like, I mean, the internet was around, but it wasn't like,
Yeah, we get
people
it.
weren't reading dirt sheets back then.
Sure.
So even though WCW towards the end, Ray wasn't wearing his mask, he was able to come to WWE with the mask on and no one knew. Like now you can Google, you can see it, you can watch it on the network. But because back then when WCW and WWE were at war, you only watched one or the other. Very rarely did you watch both. So as a diehard WCW guy, I know what Ray looked like without his mask, and was shocked he put it back on when he came to WWE. But there are some WWE fans never saw him without it. So this man had a 20-year run in WWE. He's celebrating 20 years. And he's been in the business way longer, but this is how long he's been in WWE. And as they're walking party, Rhea Ripley walks in, and if you caught the T-shirt, she was wearing an "I'm Your Poppy" Eddie Guerrero T-shirt that he wore during the Dominic feud when he was trying to say I'm Dominic Poppy.
Is it going to happen?
It better. That's not an Easter egg for this feud, I don't know what is. I'm gonna be pissed. But I'm telling you, she was wearing an Eddie Guerrero T-shirt, the "I'm Your Poppy" they had specifically made for that feud where they had the custody with Dominic, ironically at SummerSlam in 2005. So it's same pay-per-view.
Oh, we're gonna see the splits on the outs.
I think we are. I think we need to.
Well,
it's time.
Didn't you call this, Booch? Wouldn't this be the moment? Like, wouldn't that be the ultimate way to introduce this guy into the business beyond the shadow of his father? Like,
yeah,
the only way, and it makes sense. It's so organic, and she can bring it in. She'd be like, for those of you who missed the 20-year celebration, you may have missed what I was adorning. This T-shirt. What does this represent? Boom, go through it all, 2-minute promo, whatever it is. And everybody who's the usual typical dem for WWE is younger, who doesn't understand what the hell she's talking about. She gives them a bit of the Cliff's Notes version. They're like, oh, wow. Okay. Oh, yeah. Eddie Guerrero, God rest his soul, all that. Like, here we are. This is his son. Oh, my gosh. That makes sense. He's going to embrace his true identity with the Judgment Day. And that just makes his faction stronger, right? This would be the perfect way to do it. Ray can kind of go off into this. You obviously have to have a match at WrestleMania with him and Dominic. They're going to have that one-on-one father-son match. It's going to happen. You got to have that Vader Skywalker moment.
Yeah, what they would have to do is they would have to do in order for it to happen at Mania, because it's real far away, they had to do something to put Ray on the shelf. You have to get like beaten down.
Oh, they'll do that. They'll do that with the Judgment Day. Yeah.
And it's believable because Ray's had so much surgery in his left knee over the years because he's had so much injury time. They could kayfabe the left knee injury.
Yep.
And Ray's sitting at home and he's gone. Then all of a sudden he makes an appearance months down the line.
Yep.
To have that one more match. And I'm going to fight my son and see where it goes from there. If Ray goes over, if Dominic goes over. But to have that father-son match take place at Mania, they'd have to put Ray on the shelf and let Dominic establish himself by himself.
They have to do that. They can't have this constant friction.
And then when the time is right, you bring Ray back for Mania and you got the match.
Yep. I love it.
But yeah, so the Judgment Day. I'm going with the Judgment Day to win this.
Oh, I just noticed that you are going with the Judgment Day.
And I think that's going to be the final nail in the something's going to happen to cause them to lose. Dominic's going to snap, and that's when he turns on Ray. Because they can't win. Because if they win and he turns on him, yeah, they could do that, but it's stupid.
It doesn't make sense.
It makes them, and I've seen them do that before, and it makes the fans go, well, that was dumb.
No, yeah, you got to bring out his competitive fire, and this is the way to do it. Have him lose the match. I too am going to go with the Judgment Day. So let's recap. Booch, match number 1, Roman Reigns versus Lesnar. I have Lesnar, you have Reigns. Match number 2, we both have Pat McAfee over Happy Corbin. Match number 3, Bobby Lashley versus Austin Theory. You have the champion Bobby Lashley. I have the one and only A-Town Down, Austin Theory. The Usos, you believe they will beat the Street Profits, whom I believe will walk out as undisputed WWE Tag Team Champions with Jeff Jarrett as special guest referee. You believe that Liv Morgan, or I believe, pardon me, that Liv Morgan, I couldn't believe it when I saw it, that Liv Morgan will beat Ronda Rousey. Oh, I can't believe I said that. I believe it somehow. What was my logic again? I won't revisit that. You believe Ronda Rousey's going to win that match. I'll stick with it. Bianca Belair, I believe, will beat Becky Lynch. You think it's time for a change? It might be. Logan Paul, both of us believe he will beat Mike the Miz in a singles match. The Mysterios, we both believe, will begin their splits against the Judgment Day. That sums it up, Booch. What say you?
Absolutely. And do we have time for the Vince talk, or do we save that?
Let's save it for after SummerSlam, because then we'll really understand a little bit more about how much things actually changed, and then we can get into a little bit more of the context of the change and why it happened. Don't do any Googling before then, folks, because we'll do it for you. That's why you tune in, and we appreciate it, and we will never, ever leave you without a couple key things, one of which is have a nice day.
The other is bang, bang.